Legacy Maker, the All Sports
The
Network.
place is here and the time is now. Let's take it round for round. And people gather round. Let's see who can win the crown. All the marbles involved. Football, baseball, or golf. Who's dominating the hoops? Who's talking false or the truth? Yeah, come and show me your war face. I'll show you my war face. No holds barred, so for your sake, you better show up in good shape. Valuable information is key to your domination. So focus on preparation. Online is your reputation. Yeah, it's one-on-one. You and me, ain't no fear in me. You will see. When it comes to this, you'll be wearing the number 23. In debate, I hold my weight, cause these sports I'm attached to it. Your legacy, get ready, cause I'm gonna set a match to it. Hey. Burn 'em. Fire, 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 burn 'em. Fire, 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 burn 'em. Fire, 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 legacy on fire. Fire, 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 burn 'em. Fire, 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 legacy on fire. Fire, 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 burn 'em. Fire, 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 legacy on fire.
This week's panel, James Brown, Drew Willingham, and special guest Kyle Nash of the Student of the Game podcast. What is up, everybody? What is up? Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 35 of Legacy on Fire here on the Legacy Maker Sports Network. So excited for this one this week on this gorgeous August the 24th, Kobe Day. It's an honor to have greatness in the room with me for this episode. So let's go ahead and get it started off proper by introducing the team. First, my man is the host of In or Out here on the Legacy Maker Sports Network. My man, video production king himself, Mr. Drew Willingham. How you doing, Drew?
Thank you for that great introduction. I do love saying the word here in my show. However, thank you again. We just celebrated 40 episodes last night. Great panel that I have. Also announced James will be back on soon. So thank you again, James. Sorry to spoil your introduction, but thank you again for being on. I love you guys. Thank you all.
Speaking of James, he is a top analyst here on the Legacy Maker Sports Network, including articles, and I can go on and on. Our Atlanta Falcons expert, Mr. James Brown. How you doing, sir?
Doing good, man. Glad to be back. Ready to get into another great show with the guys here tonight. I feel like we got a good one brewing.
Awesome. And a special guest tonight, 3-point conversion. And, of course, he is the host of the Student of the Game podcast, my man, Mr. Kyle Nash. Kyle, how you doing, brother?
A honor, joy, and privilege to jump aboard. And, hey, I'll put it this way, James, you hear you're the Falcons expert there. Somebody other than Danny Thompson wasting my time there is nice. Although, I'll say this, your Falcons might have had a little trouble today in the joint session practice with the Jacksonville Jaguars, whom I cover as well for the 3-point conversion there, too. So, hey, it depends on who on Twitter you believe, really, when it comes to that.
We're still in training camp, man. You never know what you're gonna get.
You never know. Like it's been a great off season or going into the new season so far. NFL is only a couple weeks away, fellas. We were into the preseason, and you can feel the vibes, man. I'm excited. Can't wait to see how things go. Well, let's go ahead and get this party started the right way with one sentence. One sentence. Starting off with our special guest. One sentence, Kyle Nash. The WNBA playoffs, your thoughts?
How fun is this? You got the NBA playoffs, which normally have series that are either sweeps or last way too long than they should. You have the whole situation where you had 2 3-game series, one of them to be determined tonight. You got his storied franchises on one side of the bracket. You have Sue Bird extending her WNBA life. How fun is this? That's my sentence.
Awesome. James, one sentence, the WNBA playoffs.
I'd say to the common fan, who's playing what? I mean, the WNBA game is not marketed almost on any level. I mean, we're in the playoffs for the WNBA, and we rarely hear anything about it. Like, what other sport can the whole playoffs be going on and the average fan know nothing about it, or just the average sports person know nothing about it? It's crazy to me.
Drew, one sentence, the WNBA playoffs.
Absolutely devastating to watch when it comes to the Phoenix Mercury. Look at how they got handled, I'll say, in the first game of their first round. They lost by 30 points? The Mercury are really feeling the loss of Brittany Griner being over there in Russia, and I'm not really trying to take it to that level, but I am at the same time. They are missing her in the lineup.
Yeah, it's crazy because, if you look at their team, they're stacked. And they did have Tina Charles at one point during the season. Things went a little bit awry, and she was now in Seattle. But you look at that team and say, wow, this team is really good on paper. Skylar Diggins, Durant, Diana Taurasi, and you would think that better things would have happened, but you can definitely tell that they are missing Brittany Griner. Well, let's go ahead and get started with the fire starters for today. And the first one we got is about my man. I am a machine, Mr. Albert Pujols. Albert Pujols is on fire right now, y'all. Now, the last time I checked the count, if I'm wrong on the count, definitely let me know. Last time I checked the count, it was 693, unless he hit 694 since that time frame. But he is only 7 home runs away from reaching that 700 home run plateau. Question at hand, fellas. Will Albert Pujols get to 700 home runs before the end of the season? He says he's retiring, man, but I need him to see him get to 700. Drew, I'm gonna start with you, man. Does he get there?
First of all, just to give you a quick fact check, you are absolutely right. He's at 693.
Ding, 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 ding.
He is at 693 with 39 games left to play, in a matter of fact. I don't think he's going to get it this year. We were just talking about it a couple episodes ago. I believe he's going to get there next season. I believe he's played well enough to earn a chance to come back next year. The St. Louis Cardinals, with the way they've been playing as of late, they've been playing pretty decent baseball this year. When you put it in perspective, they're 71-52 coming into tonight's game against the Chicago Cubs. And the Cubs, we don't even want to go there, the Chicago Cubs this year, if you know what I'm saying. But when it comes to the St. Louis Cardinals, I'm in on the fact that they have a chance to make a run potentially the next year or so. And I think that Albert can help them out with some veteran leadership. He was there for the World Series they won back in the day. I feel like he'd be a great asset to that team for at least another year after this and get to 700. He earned it more than the others who've previously gotten high in the home run totals. Give it to my man, Winnie the Pujols. Shout out to Stuart Scott for that name as well.
Oh, man, that's a
Shout out
classic.
to Winnie the Pujols as well.
I love it. Winnie the Pujols. I forgot about that. My man Stuart Scott. Rest in peace, my man. Next, James. Does he do it, man? Does he get to 700? What are your thoughts?
I'm gonna say no. I mean, the numbers just aren't on his side right now. I know he's on a little bit of a tear, but like Drew said, he's at 693. He's got 8 regular season games left. Unless he continues his hot streak, which I highly doubt he'll stay as hot as he's been for the rest of the season. I mean, he's only has 14 home runs, I believe, on the season. The numbers aren't on his side, man. So he's gonna have to reach down deep, bring out some of that classic magic he's had from back in the day, maybe from around his first stint with the Cardinals. But I don't see it happening, man. I just don't. He's gonna have to come back next year if he's hoping to get to 700. There's no way I see it happening this year.
Awesome. Kyle, we swing to you, brother. I mean, does it happen, man? Does Pujols make it happen?
For my money, I listen, I don't cover baseball on the regular, but as a student of the game, I studied up for this. In this particular instance, I'm going to say yes. It's less about how much time or any of that he has left and more about, in my mind, the kind of opposition they're going to be facing. Some teams that are prone to give up the home run are remaining on the schedule. That actually increases his chances of knocking in the necessary dinger. And hey, call me Piglet if I'm wrong, but I'm giving Willie the Pujols.
I like that. I love that. My I guess dream scenario, any baseball fan dream scenario, 162, 699. I'm not saying it got to be the last at bat, but wouldn't it be magic? He can finish it off, get it done before the end of the season. But 7 home runs in a month, is it possible with a guy who's one of the greatest home run hitters of all time? It's possible, but we will see if it can happen. Next one on the fire starters. Oh, this is going to be a fun one. The Pittsburgh Steelers. They got kind of a dilemma right now, trying to figure out who's going to be their starting quarterback after losing Big Ben. Big Ben, the future Hall of Famer, the 2-time Super Bowl winner. The question at hand is, who would you start if you're the Steelers? Who would you start, Mitch Trubisky or Kenny Pickett? This one, I'm just intrigued to see how this one goes down here. I'm going to start off with Mr. James Brown. James, who do you have, man? Kenny Pickett or Mitch Trubisky?
I'll say if you're Pittsburgh to start the season out, I would start with Trubisky. Looking at the first couple of games, I believe they played New England in week 2. Belichick has a history of feasting upon young quarterbacks. That's not who I would love for my guy to start his career out against. I'd like to wait for maybe the schedule to soften up some if I'm Pittsburgh and Mike Tomlin looking at things. So I would say Trubisky should start the season out. Let him take the first couple knocks, see what's going on, see if he can have a spark or something they like maybe some sort of a fire for the season. And then maybe let Trubisky close the season out for you, bring him in at a good point throughout the year. But I don't think you start him out as a rookie in this offense, in this league, especially in the division he's playing in. I mean, he could still be a pretty good quarterback and arguably the fourth best quarterback in this division. I feel like you bring him along slow, let him develop, and then throw him in there. Because if you start him out and then you try to bench him, it's going to look real ugly real quick for the guy. So I say Trubisky should be the start to start out.
All right. Trubisky, James has got Trubisky. Kyle, I'm going to you, brother. Who should start, Trubisky or my man Kenny Pickett?
Well, hey, listen, calling Kenny Pickett the fourth worst quarterback in that division, regardless of ethical implications, isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's not AFC West amazing, but come on. Watson, L-Jack, Joey Burr. I mean, being fourth in that division, let it slide. But you got to remember, they got a free pass this year, 12 games without Watson, and that's an opportunity to help the Steelers on the schedule just a little bit. And Trubisky, the only reason why he was ever good is because of a certain Matt Nagy guy that people decided to set on fire. See, staying with the show theme and all that. To
I like
that. Even get any sort of playoff action at all. I got Kenny Pickett all day. I called it back in June. Trubisky, I have no faith in. And hey, Najee Harris is going to be running the football. They don't need Trubisky to do it with gimmicky plays. I don't think that sort of thing fits a Tomlin-led team overall. They got a good enough receiver core. I got Pickett all day. And by the way, it's not a big change. He's been playing there for 4 years.
All right. Yeah, that's true. There's not a big change. He was right across the hallway. Drew, what about you, Trubisky or Kenny Pickett?
Guys, I don't even know how this is even a question because Trubisky's got 64 touchdowns over 38 interceptions. I mean, he's got 10,000 passing yards already. And plus, I don't trust anybody as a quarterback who's born in 1998 yet. Pickett was born in 1998. The youngest quarterback who was starting was Sam Darnold, who was 21. And that's already probably gone out the window with everything that we already know about with Baker Mayfield. So when you put all that in perspective, and he was born in 97, I don't even trust him. So I do not trust somebody who was born in 1998, and that being Kenny Pickett. No, give it to Mitch Trubisky, who's, like I said, he's got 64 touchdowns and 38 interceptions, 10,000 passing yards in his short career. He was born in 94. He's very, very young, dude. He's like 26, 27 years old. Why are we even having this conversation right now? Pickett hasn't proved anything. He just went to school in Pittsburgh. Why are you just giving it to him because he went to school in Pittsburgh? He did okay. He's no Dan Marino. Stop drinking the Kool-Aid. Put it back in the fridge.
I do have a question about that. So 95 and up, just they shouldn't start. Just no go.
No.
I think Joe Burrow wants a conversation with you, partner.
Yeah, just a small one. Joe's like, wait a minute. Come on, bro. Come on, man.
I'll give it that you got to have one fluke. You got to have one flash in the pan. But even look at one Patrick Mahomes II. He was born in 95. I'll give it to him. 95 and older. Look at Thomas Edward Patrick Brady II. He's born in the 70s, and he's still playing, even though he's one hit away from not playing anymore. But we can talk about that another time. We got all show to talk about other stuff.
What was
Justin Herbert, born in 98. I mean, I don't know. That's a 98er I'd take.
I'm not sold on Herbie the Love Bug yet, my man. We
Wait
can talk
a
about
minute.
that another time on your episode. I'll save that as a topic for your episode coming up.
Cal, you got anything?
True is if you want to talk about time, here's some time for you. 15 minutes in Jacksonville, couldn't score a touchdown. 5 minutes, Pickett's knocking down the door to get to the end zone against the starters. I'm just throwing that out there.
Just tossing it out there. I love it. The fire is being lit, ladies and gentlemen.
You think they struggle that bad against Jacksonville after how they played in that Hall of Fame game against the Raiders, my man?
They did. I watched it happen.
You think that, look, I'm telling you, the Steelers are going. The Steelers, no, I'm telling you, regular season, Tomlin, and when it's a real game, this is exhibition. Nobody cares about preseason. True. They're going to play. They're going to have it straight. It is Mike Tomlin, who has never had a losing season in Pittsburgh. Give it to Mike Tomlin. Give him his credit when he's due, and he's going to make Mitch Trubisky look like the quarterback he should have looked like all along.
Okay.
He learned behind Josh Allen and the Bills for a year. I mean, come on, man.
The fire. We're going to see. I mean, this is a very critical spot for Pittsburgh. You know, Pittsburgh in the Mike Tomlin era, never a losing season. So he doesn't want to start now. The question is, where do you go, Pickett or Trubisky? Me personally, I said shoot for it. Give it to Pickett, baby. 95 babies enough.
All I know is it's only been 15 minutes so far in this episode, and you have so many sound bites already that you can use for highlights going forward. I love it. Let's keep this thing going.
Next one, y'all. Let's hit it. Who you choosing? This one's gonna be a little close to Drew's heart. Terry McLaurin or DK Metcalf in this one. Now, these are two of the young, talented receivers in the league. We did two young, talented last week in Chase and Jefferson, which Chase won tremendously. I was very impressed by the Chase victory. But this time we go with two guys that also got paid in this offseason, Terry McLaurin and DJ Metcalf. Now, Kyle, I'm going to start with you. Okay, brother, who are you choosing, Terry McLaurin or DK Metcalf?
You know, it's interesting. You're stuck asking the Niner fan as somebody who regularly supports Russell Carrington Wilson. Yes, Drew, we do middle names too, like Patrick LaVon Mahomes II. But what I'm getting at is this. When it comes to DK Metcalf, I'm taking nothing away from him as a physical being because, good Lord, he can do a lot and he happens to be huge. Guess what? So is Terry McLaurin. Their numbers, very similar catches and yards wise. But when you have one, the disrespected, I might add, Russell Carrington Wilson throwing you the football, and the next best thing you got is a guy with a huge beard, a guy named after a beer, you definitely got to give it to McLaurin based on supporting cast alone. That's where I'm at with it.
Awesome. Drew, who you I know what Drew choosing, but who you choosing, Drew? Terry McLaurin or DK Metcalf? Maybe it's not as easy as I think.
I'm conflicted. I do have to support what my guy Kyle has now said. In a very short time, we are now friends. Thank you for what you said about Terry McLaurin right there. I got to give a shout out to you for that. However, when it comes to DK Metcalf, you did have Russell Wilson up until now to throw you the ball. So your numbers are going to dip a little bit. But if you're as great as you are with getting those receptions and getting those touchdowns, that's not going to matter much. Drew Lock probably won't be the complete answer as the starting quarterback in Seattle. They may end up I don't see it being Jimmy G. They may not even have the quarterback this year, but I'm looking ahead of this year. He's already got 29 touchdowns over Terry McLaurin's 16. Now, granted, he has had a better quarterback to start him the football for those other touchdowns. It's 13 more touchdowns. With the difference in quarterback, I would say maybe that would only equate to maybe 5 or 6 touchdown difference. I got to give the credit where it's due. And when you look at the highlight reel and you look at what DK Metcalf and some of the catches he's made, not taking anything away from my guy Terry because I love him to death as part of Washington. However, got to give credit where it's due, and it's DK.
All right. So, okay.
Both, but
right.
I want them both on my team.
I'll take any of them. I'll take any of them right now. I'm just saying, James.
1A or 1B. I'm not that guy. Right?
James, who do you got, McLaurin or Metcalf?
I don't know, man. This one was a little bit of a toss-up for me. DK is definitely a physical freak. The guy's big, fast, strong. But I think I'm going to roll with Mclaren, man. Terry McLaurin out of Washington. I'm going to take Terry McLaurin. When it comes down to it, for me, I believe McLaurin's more of a completed receiver. He can run most of the routes along the route tree. I can get him to go deep. I can get him to come underneath. I can get him to go across the middle. He can even probably do some things for you coming out of the backfield, man. For me, he's more of a completed player. And the fact that he's been as good as he has with the lesser quarterback possibilities for me, I'm going to go with McLaurin, man. It's a no-brainer for me. I'm taking McLaurin.
You know, you look at that, and I gotta say this. You know, we're gonna really see how good DK Metcalf is this year because the quarterback situation is going to be a little bit skimpy, and we've seen what Terry McLaurin can do with maybe not so good quarterbacks. You know, you get Carson Wentz this year, you get a little bit of an upgrade. We'll see how it goes. Drew, you had something to say?
I want to add to what James said. You know, he's a physical freak. You know, with how he plays the position. But you got to give it to DK on this, and this is why I had to with mine, too. He's got 3 2/8 inches on McLaurin, and height matters when it comes to wide receivers. Of course, the shorter ones can help you out in the slot, but they don't play slot. They both are starting number 1 receivers for the team. Oh, yeah. I mean, he was in slot. Welker was slot. Don't you take away from what I'm saying, James.
I'm just naming off small guys that got the job done.
I know. Come on, man.
Come on, James.
We're talking about right now. We're talking about right now, and stats don't lie. And until we see the huge difference,
You ever
we gotta
seen
give it
Steve
3
Smith
more
line up
years.
against some
We've seen-
people, man?
We saw 3 years with Russell Wilson, right? With DK. Let's give it after they play for 3 more years. When they've both been in the league the same amount of time. Just like Kyle said, the numbers are pretty similar except for touchdowns. Receptions and yards are pretty much the same except for like 100-yard difference. The big difference is touchdowns because DK is more physical in the red zone. That's why I got to give it to him. That height difference matters. That 3 2/8 inches makes a difference there down there in the red zone.
Anybody want to fire back?
Yeah, Drew's size breakdown is spot on. And if we're going to compare possession receivers between these two guys, DK, of course, has the advantage because he's the bigger body. Duh. That's 101. But you talk about touchdowns. Bro, how often were the Commanders, the Red Tails, what they should have been named, actually?
Red Wolves.
I'll give you another name they should have been stayed, but we'll leave that for
We'll leave that alone for another day.
Show
him the tattoo, Drew.
Nah, we'll do that after on air. I don't want to upset anybody right now. I behaved. Just in case.
We're trying to have
grandfathered in.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
We'll call it Before It All. That's the name of my half sleeve. Before
That's
It All.
Hilarious.
Yeah. So this is great, man.
Oh my God. Well, look, guys. I mean, the fire has been brought in. The fire starters. Now it's time for us to head to the main flame. And the main flames, we got 2 good ones. Now with the NFL season this close, y'all. We're so close to NFL football to real game, regular season action. September the 8th, Rams and Bills should be a great game. It was a great game last year. Or was it the year before last? But they played recently, and it was a great game then. With all that being said, want to know you guys' top 5 NFL teams heading into week 1 of the 2022 season. Drew, I'm starting with you, my friend. Who is your top 5 teams?
Just a heads up, just in case y'all were thinking that was something wrong with me in the last episode. No, there's not. And no, I do not have the Commanders in my top 5, all right? So I'm just going to take that out of the equation right now. And I'm going to have to also pull a Rob Johnson as well, Darrell. I'm going to need an extra minute on this one because I'm going to give you something cool and maybe some more sound bites. My top 5 is this. They made it to the Super Bowl last year. They did lose, but I have to keep them in the top 5 because of what they did in the draft as well. Got to keep the Cincinnati Bengals there in the top 5 with how they played last year, how they ended the season, how they're going to start this year as long as everybody stays healthy. When it comes to who's on the hot seat potentially for this team, I feel like it's cornerback Eli Apple because he definitely needs to make some improvements in his game if he wants to stick around with the Cincinnati Bengals team because there's no IN team and the rest of this team is playing better than he is. He needs to step his game up. When it comes to number 4, I got Kansas City Chiefs at number 4. The way they've been on top the majority of the past like half decade, except for last year. They didn't win and all, but they went to consecutive Super Bowl runs. They did win one. They lost to TB12. Old Thomas said we're Patrick Brady II, who we'll get to here in a second. But their hot seat person, I would say, would be Clyde Edwards-Helaire with his injuries and how he has not been consistent. There was a lot of hype around Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He needs to live up to that hype this year if he wants to remain with the Chiefs, in my opinion. When it comes to number 3 spot, I would say the Los Angeles Rams are Super Bowl winners, are reigning champs. Don't think they're going to win it this year, but again, we'll get to that one another day. When it comes to the Rams, I would say my hot seat would be safety Taylor Rapp. They've got a team. Again, this is another team that has a squad around you, and if you're holding the team back, you got to make some decisions. And this is somebody that's on the hot seat, in my opinion. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are at 2, in my opinion. When it comes to the NFC, I got them at number 2 because I see them losing this year's Super Bowl already.
Keep rolling.
With their situation, I think who's on the hot seat is Thomas Edward Patrick Brady II because he is 45 years old. Time's a ticking. He's been like the Brett Favre story of the past 5 years. We don't know if he's retired or not every single year that comes around. So with that, he's on the hot seat because we just don't know what he's going to do. And last but not least, my number 1 pick for this NFL top 5 and who I think could potentially win this year's Super Bowl. The Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. And who's on the hot seat that I have on my list? The offensive coordinator, Ken Dorsey, because with all the weapons you have right now, if you do not win the Super Bowl or at least get to the Super Bowl, you should be fired. That's my top 5 with some flame and fire hot sauce on it.
All right. Next, we're going to go to James. Give me your top 5, James.
Top 5 teams going into the season. Let's see. I got 5. I'm going to take Tampa Bay and the Buccaneers. I'm going to take them at 5. 4, I'm going to take a team that, traded for a guy this all season. A lot of pieces coming together. I'm going to go with the Broncos at 4. 3, I'm going to go with the team I think that will best the Broncos in their division, the Kansas City Chiefs. 2, I'm going to go with the Los Angeles Rams. And number 1 team coming into the season, I got to agree, man, it's Buffalo. I mean, they had a great team last year. They went out and added that in the offseason, brought over Von Miller, who proved to be a big difference maker for the Rams and get into that Super Bowl stretch. Maybe he can create some of that magic in Buffalo. But, I'd say they'd have to be my top team going into the year.
All right. I like that, James. I like that. Buffalo has got something, I mean, I'm one of those guys, like, I want to see them do well, but I'm afraid to keep, hyping them up. But I just want to see if they can pull it off.
Exactly. We got to see if they can do it. Like, they haven't made it there since the 90s. They had the 4 straight Super Bowl trips.
Right.
And then it's been off the wagon ever since. But Buffalo's hungry. The fans are hungry. They have the pieces. They have the main piece, which for years they lacked, which is the quarterback in Josh Allen. They got him Diggs. Taylor Gabriel has come on great for them as being that second option at receiver. Mm-hmm. Could possibly a 1A, 1B situation for him and Diggs. He's looked great. If they could possibly solve that running back position, which I believe they may have something in James Cook, if they can develop him, get another runner alongside Josh Allen coming out of the backfield, then get a running mate for him out of that backfield. You never know, man. I mean, like we said, running back for them has been the one spot offensively where it's like they just can't solve it. So if they can get that straight this year, like I said, they brought on Vaughn for the defense. Tre'Davious White, he is going to be coming back off that ACL, but he's still a younger guy, should bounce back pretty good. You still got Poyer and what's my other guy at safety? What's his name? Hyde, Poyer and Hyde. You still got them in the backfield.
I shouldn't forget that one.
You shouldn't. You let them walk, and it's been terrible for you since. But yeah, man, Buffalo's got a great squad.
Oh, that hurts.
We'll see if they can finally put it together this year. I mean, they were 13 seconds away last year, that in the coin flip. So we'll see what happens.
Man, I'm still hurt by Micah Hyde leaving. There's a lot of players that have left the Packers defensively in the last couple of years. Micah Hyde was the one. Offensively too. But that Micah Hyde one bothered me because if you watch him when he was there, he did everything. He was our Swiss Army knife, and they didn't even offer my man a contract. Okay, all right, I'm not gonna do it. Kyle, give me your top 5 players.
Come on, Kyle.
Top 5 teams.
I got to tell you off the bat, I was looking for the opportunity for James Brown to have a good answer so I could say he made me feel good. But with all that in mind, all you guys have way too much faith in Thomas Edward Bieber Brady, okay? He had long hair. I'm going with it, okay? But listen, that offensive line has too many injuries on it right now for me to feel that comfortable. And Wirtz and Jansen both being out, you and I both know, gentlemen, that's the reason why he's still alive. And matter of fact, I only have one NFC team on my thing here, and we'll talk about them later. But for me, listen, if you're shocked that there's more than one AFC West representative on this list, #you problem. You've seen the offseason. Let Russ cook, and it's going to simmer just a little bit. The right mix of defense and offensive prowess, get the Broncos in there at number 5. And actually, honestly, gentlemen, number 5 is a pretty damn crowded spot. So if you have something different, I'm not blaming you for that. Someone said Joey Burr. I can't front on that at all. Number 4. I have Patrick LaVon Mahomes II and the Chiefs. Why am I saying the Chiefs? They're in the middle of trying to transition to a different style of game offensively and defensively. And when you struggle bad enough in the playoff game to where Keegan-Michael Key can talk about you forgetting how to play football for a half, you're worried about consistency on that front. That's all I'm saying with that. Next on the list, just because I have a little faith in coaches named Harbaugh, in this case, John, they were so injured last year, gentlemen. Do not forget your Baltimore Ravens. Not only a fantastic front office, you really think they were going to take that opportunity to slide with after all the injuries they had? I get it. They got rid of their top receiver. Hollywood Brown is a number 1. Okay, they weren't really stacked at that position as they would have liked, but I like everything else everywhere. They finally, in the 11th hour, signed Lamar Jackson. We're not talking about anything anymore. Number 2, the Bills. Gentlemen, I don't know if I heard anyone mention Gabe Davis as well as a receiver, but as a member of the Black and Gold Banneret covering UCF, I got to bring him in as one of the best young players that we are not talking about enough. And listen,
keep rolling.
Doing this thing, talking about how complete they are, and I don't want to break Darrell's heart anymore talking about Micah Hyde. But when it comes to Super Bowls and who you're going to pick to do what, I like teams with balance. And though, listen, John Matthew Stafford, I've talked about how good he was, and no one believed me until he came in last year, and I got to say, I told you so, an awful lot this offseason. I like a lot of things that are happening there with that group. They found a way to reload more than fall back. And listen, I'm not blaming anybody for saying they won't win the Super Bowl. Drew, that's a fine prediction. Right now, they just need to get knocked off the mountain before I take them out of number one.
I like it. I
do like that take on the Ravens. Sorry to cut you off, Darrell, but
no, you're good.
I
You're good.
did
You're
leave
good.
them out of the 5, and with their defensive improvements, I got to give you that because their defense they're studs this year. So I'll give you that. That's what
Baltimore's always been known for defense, man.
Yeah,
but even more so now.
Addition.
Even more so now because ever since their last Super Bowl, they've been known for offense because of Lamar Jackson and his MVP year, and now they're starting to change the tide a little bit. I got to give it to Kyle for this one because of their defensive changes.
I said it last week on the show, Drew. You know how I feel about this something. I don't know what it is. I got a bad feeling this is going to be a bad year for Baltimore. If they don't take care of Lamar at the beginning of the season, I just feel like things are gonna something. I don't know what it is. It's just a vibe. I want to see him
watching last night.
Let me get on
watching last night.
I would say when it comes to Baltimore, I'm not worried about them signing Lamar. I'm not worried about it because the deal's gonna get done. Mm-hmm. He said he wants to be in Baltimore. The Ravens has said they wanted to commit to Lamar. I'm not worried about a deal getting done as far as Jackson. The only thing that worries me about the Ravens, how is Greg Roman going to develop the passing game and give Lamar more opportunities to throw the ball? I mean, like we've seen it before. The Ravens are going to come in, they're going to punish you with the run, they're going to punish you on defense. Are they going to let Lamar air it out and not just the tight ends? Are they going to start incorporating the wide receivers more? We've seen this from Greg Roman offenses before. Back when he was with the Niners and with Kaepernick, it was a lot of ground and pound. It was a lot of hitting the tight ends. It wasn't so much as involving the receivers. And we saw over time, Steam started to figure it out. And eventually he was let go of to bring somebody else in to try to revamp that passing game as far as on the outside of the numbers. Roman's a good offensive coordinator. Is there somebody that's going to help him develop the passing game like a passing game coordinator? I think it's like a college position. But that's what Baltimore needs, in my opinion. Somebody to come in and help revamp their passing game outside of the numbers. We saw Lamar kind of do it in his second year when he went for the MVP with the 36 touchdowns. He can throw the ball. Right. That's not an issue. Right. Are you going to give him the opportunity to outside of the numbers? That's the thing. Hollywood Brown, yeah, he's gone. In my eyes, never a wide receiver 1, more of a wide receiver 2 guy. We all know his number 1 target in Baltimore is Mark Andrews. But can you develop somebody on the outside that you can get the ball to in this offense? That's my biggest question with Baltimore.
See, that's the thing, like I think that's what worries me the most about this team. I know it's going to sound crazy, and I know he's a former MVP, but doesn't it feel like Lamar Jackson has untapped potential? It's like
exactly
as an MVP, a former MVP. That's the vibe you get from him because we don't get to see that from him. Kyle, looks like you got something. What you got, brother?
Well, I mean, you saw me adjusting my hat. My video production people can give you an example of teams that haven't had an explosive wide receiver core for some time and still made a little bit of noise. The only reason why Jimmy G didn't win a Super Bowl is because of Patrick LaVon Mahomes II going all Patrick LaVon Mahomes II late in the fourth quarter with a 3rd and 21. What the heck? But with all that in mind, listen, James Brown, I got to tell you, all of your takes, all of your criticism of the Baltimore Ravens, perfectly warranted. That's why they're 3rd and not 1st.
I love it. Drew.
James, awesome picks. Awesome takes. Got to give you that factoid for that one. Kyle, I back both of you guys on this with the Ravens, and I can see I'll find my place for them in the top 5. Okay, we'll come back to this. We'll circle back around to this.
I agree.
I think you were giving your praise, Kyle, on Harbaugh. But after watching this season of Hard Knocks, I would much rather have Dan Campbell as my coach in Baltimore if you really wanted to turn this team around because they're going to do something special with Detroit at some point. I just
long as they don't win the division this year. As long as they don't win the division, I'm good with
it. He brings you ain't got to worry about that.
The only reason I agreed to come on this show is because one of those cool grit hats that Man Campbell wears was promised in the swag bag, right?
This is true. In the swag bag. Should be delivered to your house in the next day or so. All right,
Ooh, we
everybody.
got to restructure our contracts.
That's a good one. I know, right? Next one, and the main flame, ladies and gentlemen. Oh man, here's one that I think this is gonna be a fun one. The most annoying athlete in sports today. Now, this may not be because you just don't like them or whatever, but maybe it's just every time you hear them talk, or every time they say something, or just something that they do that just says, "Come on, man." And I'm just intrigued to see who you guys think is the. I know these two guys are probably high on a lot of people's list, but I just kind of want to know, who's that guy for you? Who's that most annoying athlete today? James, I'm going to start with you. Who's the most annoying athlete in sports today?
I'm gonna say Draymond Green, man. I mean, this is a guy who is the third wheel on the Warriors dynasty, and yet he talks as if he's the main attraction. I mean, my guy, you have been replaceable out of the main three stars of Steph, Clay, and you. If you can argue you're the third star, you have been the most replaceable out of all those guys at every single point in this dynasty. Yet you're the most that we hear from. Like, I don't understand it. Like, you talk trash as if you're the star of the team. And it's like, even at this point in his career, he's more effective as a trash talker and as a guy who's just out there and kind of like an enforcer role, kind of a get under your skin guy. I feel like that's his main that's what he mostly brings to the team now, in my opinion, in Golden State. And it's like, he's the most that we hear from. My guy, I can't. I mean, as a podcaster, I give it up to him. He's doing great with that. But like, from a basketball standpoint, I would say he's my most annoying athlete, I guess, right now. I can't with him. I'm sorry.
So it's actually a really good answer. That's a really good answer. I didn't think about Draymond, but yeah, that's a really good answer. Kyle, who is the most annoying sports athlete for you right now?
I mean, listen, James and I could have a very interesting conversation about his choice of Draymond. I don't necessarily agree, but I think it would be a good conversation. Listen, for me, I appreciate in the graphic you had A, B, and KD, and frankly, all they're talking is basically noise. I've kind of tuned it out at this point, for both of those guys. I need somebody who's kept relevant. Yes, that's right. I'm saying Brooklyn isn't relevant. Deal with it. But in my mind, this guy keeps getting kept relevant based on mediocrity alone. And of course, I'm sticking in my sport of football where I first front. You see the painting, ladies and gentlemen. Baker Mayfield.
Maker Bayfield. That's a good one.
Being kept relevant only by accident. He got kicked out the dang franchise because he can't stop running his mouth. Case Keenum performed just as well as he did at the position numbers-wise. And now, because he's in Carolina, could arguably be the second best quarterback in that division behind a guy who is 175 years old. Okay? And Jameis got hurt. That's why I'm putting him second over the Saints. Okay? So, but he's being kept relevant, and he's going to play for another mediocre team, and he's going to still run his mouth, and he has no business, in my mind, being a starter in the NFL. He should be the caliber of, let's say, like, and this is no disrespect to Vince Young, but remember he called the Eagles the dream team that one time he was starting backing up Michael Vick and eventually got beat out by David Kafka? That's what I think Baker Mayfield is, okay?
Ooh. Maker Bayfield. That's the line of the day right there. Maker Bayfield. Drew, it's your turn, brother. Who's the most annoying athlete in sports today?
First of all, I got to give it to these guys. They had great takes on it. But this one's for you, Snowman. LeBron James is the most annoying athlete of all time. Not one, not two, not three, not four, not five. And I could keep going, but that's what he did. And that's what LeBron did. He got 2, and he needed help to get it. He's got 4, and he's got a lot more losses in the finals than wins. So when you put all that in perspective, he will never be the GOAT. He has all these snowflakes out there crying for him to be the GOAT, and they think because they are his king that they can be the GOAT. But just like Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson has the bronze sexual segment for all of you out there praising about your king, I am so sick and tired of it, and we heard more and more and more and more about it over.
I disappeared.
I disappeared. Wow. I was like Casper. I went away and I came back. But anyway.
Should we talk about LeBron?
Apparently we got a LeBron lover on the other end of the production line, guys.
Wait a minute now. Hold on.
When it comes to LeBron James, yes, he's going to break Kareem's record. And yes, he's been great to the game of basketball. And when it comes to this millennium, he's probably the best basketball player of this millennium. But in basketball ever, is he the greatest of all time? In my opinion, no. So when it comes to LeBron and all of his lovers out there, far and few in between and wherever they are, you are the most annoying of all time. I even agree with my guys here with what they said. But when I think about 20 years of hearing about LeBron, seeing him in the Irish jersey, Sports Illustrated for kids, even the Sports Illustrated editions, we were seeing LeBron. They were poisoning our minds at an early age with that. And look at where we're at now. They got us thinking he's the king and he's not.
It's more than a game.
Hey, look, first of all,
uninterrupted.
When did Snowman deliver you that speech? Like, did he slide it to you in the inbox? I thought about it. I was like, that is straight from Snowman right there. That's beautiful, Drew. That's beautiful.
That's where Drew got his grit cap from Snowman.
You can definitely tell we've done projects together, me and the Snowman there. So he's definitely great to work with, and I love that segment on the show. And that was for Snowman. That's you guys. You stole it. Baker Mayfield was honestly my choice. I had to do that for Snowman because you took my choice, and I just had to roll with it.
I'm not gonna lie.
That was me on the fly, just like WWE in the Attitude Era, my guys.
I love it. I love it. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. The most annoying athlete in sports today: Draymond Green, LeBron James, and Baker Mayfield. Oh man, the fire has been coming, but you know what? With all the fire, there's time to put out the fire.
Fire, 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 burn on. Fire, 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 burn on. Fire, 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 legacy on fire.
All right, it is time, ladies and gentlemen, to put out this extreme fire that we've had on this show today. What an episode. I'm not gonna lie to you. This has been probably one of the funnest ones I've done in a while. Love the energy, fellas. But now it's time for you to put out the fire. And we're gonna start this one with Mr. James Brown. Put out the fire, James.
This week, I'm gonna focus on Kevin Durant, man. I mean, my guy basically got told, go play ball by Nets management. We're not trading you. You're not getting out of here. The little bit of power you tried to flex, guess what? You really don't have it. You earned the contract. Come play ball or go sit at home. You're not leaving. Like, I mean, my man did all this talking this past offseason, or had it be known that he would like to leave Brooklyn, tried to flex the power that he had. Everybody was like, whoa, KD's demanding to be traded, even though he's got, 3-4 years left on his deal. This is crazy. We've never seen anything like this before. Is it going to happen? It's going to happen. Oh, KD doubled down on it. He wants to be traded. He's demanding to be traded. And the Nets stood pat. They said, look, we're not firing the coach. We're not firing the GM. We're not trading you. You and Kyrie going to be back in Brooklyn playing basketball with a Nets jersey on. Suck it up. Get ready for training camp. I mean, after everything he's gone through, man, I would love to see, has anybody found any new burner accounts? Has anybody found any burner tweets to see how he feels about this? I mean, I don't think he's going to do it on his regular Twitter account, but if you're out there and you have any KD burner account details, please send them our way. I'd love to see his honest opinion on this, how he really feels right now.
You know, it's funny. Patrick Beverly said something about the situation, and then he retweeted and put hashtag blame KD. So he's playing the victim hard, isn't he? God bless him. I swear it's too funny. Kyle, it's been an honor having you on this show, brother. The energy has been absolutely amazing here on Legacy on Fire. It is time for you, sir, to put out the fire.
Listen, first of all, honor, joy, and privilege, gentlemen, to come aboard the Legacy on Fire show here on the Legacy Makers.
Love it.
Here. Yeah. I know. I do that on my show too. You know, it's a thing. You heard it, Darrell. But listen, as much as I before I get into my take, I'm going to give James Brown again props. The Brooklyn Nets did it in a style similar to Ace Ventura and Tone Loc. Yes, I'm making a Pet Detective reference.
Sheesh.
Put on that big ass size 13 and kick it. You're not going anywhere. Okay. So there's some 90s drop for you. But
Love it.
I had to lead with a joke because this one's actually kind of serious. The thing that I can't get out of my head is people that are still out there. Well, finally, there's an end to it. But people who were complaining about what the NFL did, bringing down the hammer upon Deshaun Watson. No, I'm not talking about was it long enough? Was it not long enough? A suspension? Did they do enough? Did they not? The fact that we're talking about it to that extent, that we're asking the NFL to make these ethical decisions and calls, focusing on that fact way more than they were 30 plus allegations upon this man, and he couldn't get indicted in a court. Maybe the legal system is what you should be analyzing. It's still been going back since Ray Rice when all that happened, and the actual court system didn't do much at all. And you get on the NFL's case because they didn't suspend him long enough. Listen, folks, you're looking at the wrong thing. It's not the NFL's job to legislate morality. That's not what you're trying to do here. If you don't like something, vote locally and do something about it in your own neighborhood. Leave the damn NFL out of it.
I love it. I love it. That heat is beautiful.
That's a good point. That's a solid point.
It's an amazing point.
Damn. Yeah.
Right. Real facts. Real facts. All right. Next one. My man. Putting it out last here. Mr. Drew Willingham. Drew, it's time for you, sir, to put out the fire.
Before I get started, I want to apologize to Kyle because I did not know you were a 49ers fan before the show started. And you might not want to listen to this because my fire is on the San Francisco 49ers because of their management and how they're treating this quarterback situation. This is a joke. Why is Jimmy G still there? It is almost September. What are you doing to this guy? What are you doing to the confidence of him, this team? He's out there telling the media that he deserves to be the starting quarterback over Trey Lance. It is factoid in the news within the past week. When you've got the rumblings in the dark of this is what brings down teams. You're about to be the Washington Commanders of the NFC if this doesn't get fixed soon this year. When it comes to management, when it comes to having trust, when it comes to being a team leader, managing a team, no matter if it's sports, no matter if it is a team, no matter if it's journalism, no matter what it is, there has to be transparency and trust. You have to be able to trust the top. If they're not 100% honest with you, then how can you trust them? People start packing their bags and walking out the door on a Monday, a Tuesday, a Wednesday randomly when they are one of the biggest pieces to your team. And what has Jimmy G been? A pretty big piece to this 49ers team. They've been a big, big contributor. Just like, Darrell for Legacy Maker, me, James, you for three-point conversion. You're a big deal for your team. So you have to be treated well from above in order to perform. And Jimmy G isn't performing because he's not being treated well. He's not given the opportunity. He's about to pack his bags and leave. What are you going to get for him? What are you going to get for him, 49ers? I'm sick and tired of watching people walk out the door because they're not treated fairly, because there's too much pettiness going on at the top and too many people being friends with each other in the front office. Get it together. Treat your people right, or they're going to walk out the door.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. I'm telling you what, man, Jimmy G, man, that whole situation has been crazy from January up until now. All we heard was he was good. First, he was the hot quarterback. He wasn't being the hot quarterback till now we are where we are. So hopefully they get that situation together, man, because, Jimmy G is a very critical piece. He's been a very critical piece of that 49ers team the last couple of years. Kyle, with that being said, I know you're a 49ers fan. You got any thoughts on that before we get out?
I mean, I was going to save it and hold it out for an invite to Drew's show if he wanted to do that. Thanks for asking me. I get your overall point, and if it was simple as what we have there, Drew, I think you got a solid take. There's a few things, however, and listen, I'm a Jimmy G guy. Let me be clear about that. But listen, you can't help the club in the tub. And it's not so much that the Niners don't want to move him, as there's not really that many takers at this point offering something that's valued. And listen, Jimmy G has been doing great considering how injured he's been. But at some point, listen, I'm going to make Darrell cringe bringing up this name. Some point you got to understand you got Amon Green that can't stay healthy a full hurts. That can't stay healthy a full season. And listen, I went over the part where you were this close to beating Patrick Mahomes for second in the Super Bowl. It hurts me too. I like Jimmy G, but you can't help the club in the tub. Trey Lance, I don't know how good or he's not going to be or bad or good or whatever. I hope to talk with Stats Guerrero about that on my show in 2 weeks. Bing! But with all that in mind, yeah, it's right for you to question why the move hasn't been made yet, but we have to explore what kind of offers are they actually getting. And hey, listen, as far as quarterbacks saying I should be the starter if they're the backup, if your backup doesn't believe that, they shouldn't be in the damn house. That's the point you're there for, to be ready for play one when it is time. Go ahead, Drew.
I'm 100% with you on that. I just don't want you to turn into my beloved team, the Washington Commanders, because of how they handle their front office. I don't want to see anybody handle their front office people like that. And I don't want to see a fake person come onto media camera and tell their people that they will do whatever they can for their people they love and be there and support them, and then do whatever they can to watch them walk when you know they deservingly deserve to be there.
Oh, no, and that's a fine point specific to Jimmy G. But as far as that leadership and how real they're capable of being, if you remember going into the draft where they picked up Lance, they said, hey, we're going to keep both guys. And no one believed them. So even when they tell the truth, I mean, what do you do with that?
What do you do? I tell you, man, it's going to be very interesting to see, though, because I'm intrigued to see where he ends up going. I mean, we'll see if Cleveland actually makes the move. I don't think they will because they got Brissett. So I will see how everything goes. Once again,
man, the money he's making.
Yeah, the money.
I think he's still on the book for what, $27 million?
Yeah,
a lot of teams at this point in the year don't just have $27 million in cap space to free up.
And Cleveland ain't got none of
that money.
Yeah,
and that could be part of why we haven't seen him traded either, because you got to think, if you're trying to get $27 million off your books, you're gonna have to give up some trade picks. You're expecting to get a second rounder back for him. It's like, all right, but I'm also taking on $27 million now. That's a lot of money I'm taking on here, and you're expecting to give up something as valuable as a second round pick. A lot of teams probably saying, you know what, I'm good on that. I'm gonna roll the dice with what I got. Unless we see an injury come along, I feel like Jimmy G is a 49er, or unless they just say, you know what, we're just gonna cut bait. Jimmy,
and go from there.
Been nice, and unless they release him, I don't think we see a trade unless there is an injury, which you never hope for in the NFL. But I feel like at this point, he's either a Niner or he's on the street somewhere.
Kyle?
I just don't agree with holding someone back on their potential when they could be
flourishing
somewhere else. When you could be holding them back, and there's somebody who doesn't deserve to be in their place. It's kind of like this. Jarrell's doing a great production right now, and same thing with 3-point conversion with myself. We do video productions. Anybody can press record, talk on a camera, and hit stop. We're doing productions. So when you compare it, Trey Lance doesn't have the statistics that Jimmy G does. When he hasn't been proven, he didn't play behind Thomas Edward Patrick Brady II and learn how to be a quarterback and take a team to the Super Bowl like Jimmy G did. So got to give my props to Jimmy G. Got to fight for people and be a team player when I get the opportunity, and that's what I'm doing right now.
All right. That's beautiful, y'all. Look, that is it. That is episode 35 of Legacy on Fire here on the Legacy Maker Sports Network. Before we go, of course, I got to go around and see one more time. James, anything you want to say before we get out of here, brother?
Another great episode, man. Kyle, thanks for joining us. Definitely enjoyed having you, man. Love some of your takes. Maybe we can get together, do it again, whether it's here or maybe on one of your shows one day. You never know, man. Let's make it happen.
Yeah. Drew, anything you want to say, brother?
Everybody, be kind out there in these streets. Be real. And when you have the opportunity to share things, share them. Thank you for the opportunity, Darrell. I love being here. I love the show.
I would love having you, Drew. Love having you, brother. Kyle, anything you want to say before we go?
Woo, my neck broke with that pace change from Drew. He's like, ha! Love everybody.
He was like,
No, listen, gentlemen, an honor, joy, and privilege. And hey, by the way, this is a good opportunity to talk trash on Controversy Raphael, who once said Mitchell Trubisky was a better quarterback than Jimmy G.
Ooh,
so,
I cannot wait for episode 45. Now that you told me that, I'm sorry to cut you off, but you just gave me even more fuel for episode 45. Thank you, Kyle. And you are always welcome to my show. I'll have to hit you up shortly.
Hey,
that's great.
Honor, joy, and privilege with that. And hey, that is one thing the leadership did right, was fleece the Bears on that whole situation. Anyways, I am Kyle Nash, the student of the game. You can find me on Twitter at the SOTG, as Darrell is nicely concierged at the bottom here. I like that. At the student of the game on Twitter, on Instagram as well, on Facebook. Find me as a student of the game. Check out my work with the 3-point conversion, where I cover the Jacksonville Jaguars and others. AFC South preview coming, gentlemen. Look out for that. And, of course, my work with the Black and Gold Banneret, covering the UCF Knights, football, basketball, and a few things in between. And, of course, my work with the Captain and Company morning show on oldschool101.com, A7BN Sports. A little bit of Jags affiliation there. And one last thing, gentlemen, I talk movies as well on the Hilarity by Default YouTube channel with my friend Demosthenes Euclid. Check out the required viewing show on that front. So, gentlemen, honor, joy, and privilege. I had a great time. I'm going to go record my show here shortly. I'm pumped for that. Who needs energy? I need more beer. I don't know. But until next time, fellas, class dismissed.
All right, everybody. That is it from Drew, James, and Kyle. I'm Darrell. We'll see y'all next week for episode 36.
Fire, 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 burn on.